Hello everyone! Welcome to our Fasting Friday episode ng LCF Lifestyle Talk with yours truly, your Diet Doctora, Dr. Josephine Grace Rohotan. And today, we will talk about anything about fasting. So if you have concerns, questions related to fasting, yan yung pag-uusapan natin. And I think I saw one question yesterday na hindi natin na-answer sa ating Tanungan Thursday. That's why para siyang part 2 ng ating Tanungan Thursday. But specific yung questions na ating i-entertain now is regarding fasting. So merong nagtanong doon kung okay lang ba mag-fasting yung seniors. Actually, yung taong mga pinaka makaka-benefit when it comes to fasting are the seniors. Kasi wala, especially for women, na wala nang hormonal changes, wala nang fluctuations in their hormones. They have the most stable hormone. So, pwedeng-pwede silang mag-fast as long as they can. And of course, as long as meron pa silang mga fats to lose. So, yun yung isa sa pinaka-importante. In fact, maming, 67-year-old na ngayon si maming. And ever since we started, early 2019, ay nagpa-fasting na. So, fasting muna and then low carb. And because of that, ngayon, we can see that her progress ay na-retain niya lang yung kanyang mga benefits. So, the weight loss. And now, akala ng iba, when you lose weight, your skin will sag at magkukulubot. Pero it may be true sa beginning lamang, only on the first part. But when you do it right, kapag ginawa nyo ito, low carb, and then together with fasting, especially clean fasting, you will see na autophagy will kick in. And when autophagy will kick in, you will instantly know na ang pagkulubot na yon is just temporary. Eventually, it will tighten up. So, yung mga kulubot, yung mga excess skin, especially sa mga nag-lose weight na, huwag kayong mabahala. Eventually, it will tighten up. Autophagy po is the self-cleansing mechanism ng ating katawan. So, when you are continuously fasting, all the more that your body will eat up, kakainin niya yung mga excess skin na yon, and it will use it up for energy, for other kailangan ng ating katawan, like the growth of our nails, the growth of our hair. And Maming just told me a while ago, I think we talked about this one few days, na na-notice niya na ever since she started fasting and low carb, yung number of gray hairs niya ay hindi na mas dumami pa. 'Di ba? It's already a given na as you age, mas dadami at mas dadami yung iyong white hair or gray hair. But with her, it seems like naging stagnant na lang. Hindi na siya mas lumala pa. And her hair is always that shiny, and yung strength ay maganda din. Yung quality, yung bagsak, it's all good. So, our hair and our skin will reflect our health. So, if ngayon medyo dry yung skin ninyo, maybe you are fasting too much, or when you are fasting but after your fasting, when you break your fast, baka kulang yung intake ninyo na needed vitamins, minerals, food, of course, especially healthy fatty foods that are very essential in maintaining good moisturized, not dry na skin. And of course, pinaka-importante din, hydration. So, even if we fast na meron tayong dry fast, meron din tayong fasting na liquid fast, but when we are drinking our fluids, we have to take them adequately. Ang usual advice ko, especially sa mga tita and mga lolo-lola na, as we age, remember na yung ating urge to drink, yung urge to eat, sometimes nawawala na. Hindi na tayo nakakaramdam ng gutom, hindi na rin tayo nakakaramdam ng uhaw. So, that is why sobrang dami na naglo-low carb, na isa sa kanilang problem is constipation. Hindi sila makapupo ng maganda because it's usually a very, very hard stool. So, the first explanation there is when we do low carb, konti na lang talaga yung ating ipupupo. Kasi yung food na kinakain natin is what we call as low residue food. Kasi halos lahat ng ito ay naa-absorb ng ating katawan, which is a good thing. And kailangan alam natin na hindi natin kailangan pwersahin yung ating pagpupupo kung wala pa talagang natural urge. However, another reason also might be dehydration. Kasi if you will just wait until kung kailan kayo mauuhaw, ay baka 2 or 3 beses lang kayo uminom ng tubig in a day. So that's why sa mga hindi nakaka-monitor ng kanilang water intake, it is best to have at least 1.5 liters of water ready na sa isang bottle sa inyong refrigerator, or if ayaw nyo ng cold water, ilagay lang ito sa labas to remind you na at least every hour while you are awake ay iinom ka nito. So try to drink water, try to drink your fluids when you are most active, and avoid taking them when you are already about to rest or kapag gabi na. But during daytime, when you are most active, that's the best way to drink your water, so that when you really fast, mas maximize ninyo yung benefits of fasting when you are regulating not just your food intake but including your water intake then. So, good afternoon. Ang daming nagsa-spam 'no? Tutulungan ko si sir o si ma'am na ito kasi nagsa-spam. So, delete natin yung mga, nagsa-spam, and as an announcement, mas nagiging aggressive daw po ngayon yung mga nagbebenta ng mga mixed nuts na, illegally gumagamit ng ating pangalan, ng ating photos, ng ating videos. Yes, totoo pong kumakain ako ng mixed nut, but that's mixed nuts, hindi po yung binibenta nila. They are just editing the videos na parang merong product in front of me. But the nuts that I was eating, ano talaga yon, mixed nuts, literally galing sa iba't ibang brands, galing sa iba't ibang pakete, kinombine ko lang, and I usually have that as baon, like the one that I showed you yesterday. So, wag pong papaloko. If ever you want, meron naman tayong mga partners that are actually selling real nuts na wala pong mga kasamang oats, walang kasamang raisins that are high carb. Try to check out LCF Essentials PH po. Meron yan. So, thank you so much for always being vigilant. Kung meron kayong nakita ng ganyan, try to report them as spam. Okay? Yung emulsifier ingredients, okay po ba sa low carb diet? So, mga emulsifiers, usually, ito yung mga para sa mga processed foods. If it's just minimal, okay lang naman. But again, kung kayo ay nasa start pa lang when it comes to your healing, as much as possible, wag muna tayong kumain or mag-consume ng mga processed food. So again, we have this 5 levels of low carb. So emulsifiers can be already considered as part of the caution list if hindi siya high carb, if konti lang naman. But if it's already too much, then baka nasa danger list na yan. So make sure na nasa level 1 or 2 kayo ng ating low carb to ensure na kaya nyong ma-accommodate yung mga processed foods na yon. So, those are the things that you have to consider. And of course, certain products, kailangan talaga merong emulsifier for it to be like that, yung kanilang specific consistency. Okay? But when it comes to natural healing talaga, level 4 and level 5 kind of low carb, kung pwede, we try to do everything on our own. Try to make everything from scratch talaga. So to ensure na yung mga ingredients na ginagamit are all pasok sa ating safe list at hindi makakapag-jeopardize ng ating healing. So Andrew Del Rosario, question niya is, can I drink before going to bed? So ang drink, you mean fluids lang. So usually, yun yung nakasanayan natin, di ba? To drink water before going to bed. However, ano yung takeaway? Anong mangyayari doon? Usually, if we take water before going to bed, most likely, babangon ka in the middle of the night just for you to pee, para lang umihi. And it will not just lead into unrest ng inyong kidney kasi dapat nagpapahinga din yung kidneys natin. But your circadian rhythm, your rest, your sleep will also be disrupted. So, sayang yung inyong tuloy-tuloy na sana na good quality sleep. So, that's why, as much as possible, yun yung gusto natin. You try to regulate your water intake, majority of your water intake taken during the day, and yung last water intake at least mga 2 hours before bedtime, yung bulk of water intake. But if ever nasanay, which is expected sa mga nasasanay ng mayat maya umiinom ng water or before bed, if ever nauuhaw talaga, you have that sensation ng uhaw before going to bed. So, try to drink sips of water lang. Hindi kailangang ubusin ang isang basong water before bed. Especially yung mga na gumigising in the middle of the night. So, in the middle of the night, nagigising, umiinom pa talaga ng tubig. So, those try to train yourself also when it comes to do that. So, another question, asking for a friend, can fasting lower triglycerides and VLDL? What about Feldman protocol? So, yes, fasting will lower triglycerides and VLDL. And Feldman protocol, it's part of the protocol ng general medicine. But when it comes to ating low carb and fasting alone can lower triglycerides and VLDL because when we do low carb and when we do fasting, bumababa yung ating insulin level. And the moment na mababa na yung ating insulin level, automatic, we will go on fatty acid oxidation. What is fatty acid oxidation? Ito yung process na kung saan nababurn yung fat sa ating katawan and it will be transformed into energy. Yan ay isang natural na process po ng ating katawan. Pero meron nagbo-block dito kaya hindi ito nangyayari. And that is the presence of insulin hormone. So kapag mataas yung insulin hormone nyo, yung triglycerides and VLDL, hindi sila magagamit as energy. Magsa-stagnate lang sila. They will just stock up at magbi-build up lang sila. That's why it will just continue to be elevated at hindi sila nagagamit. At yung kailangan nating gawin para bumaba yung ating triglycerides and VLDL is to just remove the blocker ng kanilang metabolism. So what is that blocker? It's the insulin. So paano natin pabababain yung insulin? Papababain lang natin yung insulin by also lowering the food that spikes insulin na nakaka-trigger ng insulin increase. And that is still high carb food. So kapag mababa na yung ating intake ng mga high carb foods, ng mga sweets, ng mga starch like kanin, tinapay, root crops, even to some extent yung mga fruits, bababa na rin yung ating insulin levels sa ating katawan and naturally the VLDL and triglycerides will now lower down. So those are good options. If you want to know, pwede kayong maghanap sa Google Scholar and then you can see journals there. There is a study on 14-hour daily fasting among people who were practicing Ramadan fasting at nakita nila na in 1 month time, bumaba yung kanilang inflammatory markers including those na triglycerides and VLDL. And what's also good about that study is that it proved na as it lowered down the fats in our body, bumaba yung fat content ng ating katawan, pero the muscles are still preserved. So, it's not true yung sinasabi ng iba na mangangayayat ka, na mawawala yung inyong muscle mass kapag ikaw ay nagpa-fasting. In fact, it is muscle preserving. Ganun po, kaganda. Yung fasting, especially when done right. So fasting, there's different types. But the general one, especially for beginners, is just a 10 to 12 hour of dry fasting overnight. So for example, if you will sleep at 10, maybe yung last bulk of water intake niyo is nasa 8 o'clock. So by 8 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the 8 o'clock, yeah. So 8 o'clock until 6 o'clock ng umaga. So itulog nyo na lang. So that's already a good 10 hours of dry fasting. Kung hindi pa kaya, so kahit 8 hours lang muna. So by 10 to 6, matulog kayo nang wala na munang iniinom. And by the time you wake up, you can already drink water, plain tea, and plain coffee. And if you take something warm para sa mga merong problema in their bowel movement, you can actually see na drinking something warm in the morning can activate that what we call na gastrocolic reflex. So, it's the reflex na kapag napupuno yung tiyan natin in the morning, it is expanded and then merong something warm inside, magkakaroon siya ng signal na isi-send on the colonic part. Oh, so, yung end or distal part ng ating intestines, and that will trigger morning pooping. So, yung inyong morning routine ay mati-trigger pa din. So, that's a hack na you can do, and you can still be fasting even in the morning if you want to have that regular bowel movement. But of course, you also have to consider the amount of food that you've been eating, kasi baka konting-konti lang yung kinain nyo the previous day and baka hindi pa talaga nakaabot doon because it's like a tube. So if kakaunti lang yung laman, walang push. So that's why bulk is also a factor. So when it comes to low carb, especially yung mga low carb na low residue low carb, walang masyadong gulay, puro karne lang, itlog, seafood, which is good for our health. But do not wonder, wag magtaka if yung inyong bowel movement only comes once or twice every week. And it's not something na kailangan nyo pong i-worry as long as kayo ay nakasunod sa ating safe list and you are feeling better than ever. So, how many hours can I drink water before going to bed? I think we have already answered this. So, ideally, at least 1 to 2 hours before going to bed. So, hinay-hinay lang. And Iloco Pinoy, sabi niya, quit rice for 6 months, then went back. This is my first day again, no rice. Thanks po. Welcome back po sa Life Without Rice. And I hope na you were able to get the benefit yung 6 months na yon na na-quit ninyo yung rice. And hopefully, tuloy-tuloy na yung inyong healing this time. So, maraming salamat po. Hello, everyone. So, pwede po bang mag-LCF ang nag-breastfeed, Doc? Yes, I think I've mentioned that many times over na tatlo sa aking sisters, 2 sister-in-law and my sister ay naka-low carb na at naka-LCF na when they had their babies and during breastfeeding period. Yung importante lang dito, low carb is the way to go when it comes to food intake. At yung nakita nga natin, the quality of breast milk is actually better with low carb kasi it's mostly proteins and good amount of fats, which really comprise the bulk of the breast milk. However, when it comes to fasting, hindi kailangang pwersahin. Hindi na kailangan maging OA na 18:6, 16:8, 24. No need to count the hours. Just listen to your body. If you feel like you are hungry or if you feel like you are thirsty, then you drink. Then you eat if you are hungry. Just make sure that it's low carb. And when it comes to breastfeeding, may mga times din na wala silang appetite. And it's okay. They also fast. Kapag yun yung sinasabi ng katawan nila na magpa-fast and they also fast, it's just that they make sure that they have ample amount of fluid. So, yung ating breast milk production is not just dependent on just food alone, but mostly it's on the fluids. So, yan. Usually, maglalak ka talaga ng fluids, especially water. So, meron dito si Joji. Been low carb 7 months, did fasting and ate eggs most often, and I'm disappointed with my blood result. I tried so hard eat which are in the safe list and so scared of my cholesterol is too high. The doctor prescribed me atorvastatin to take. My first time to have that medicine and don't want to take it yet without consulting my low carb doctor or coach. So it's good that you considered to consult with your low carb doctor. And of course, alam na natin if it's just total cholesterol, LDL and HDL that are elevated, and without the other signs of inflammation and cardiac markers, there is actually no reason for us to be afraid. Kasi the new studies now are no longer supporting na ang LDL ang basihan ng heart attacks and stroke. In fact, about 50% ng mga na-heart attack and stroke ay sobrang baba ng LDL and sobrang baba yung cholesterol. So it only goes to show na hindi talaga yun yung kailangan nating isipin, hindi yun yung kailangan nating bantayan, but actually, the more serious markers of inflammation, which would include yung mataas na chronic na pagtaas ng blood sugar and mataas na insulin level sa katawan, mataas na inflammatory markers in the form of ESR and CRP, and also the dangerous kind of fat sa ating katawan, which is that triglycerides, and VLDL. But HDL, LDL, together with a non-inflammatory laboratory picture, and of course try to feel what you are feeling, be objective, at makikita ninyo that if you are actually feeling better and feeling good and feeling healthier without looking at the results in your laboratory, makikita ninyo that you are actually okay. So take heart now, breathe deeply, and just trust that you are actually doing it right. But if you want to lower it to normal according to the normal standards, there is a way naman. I invite you to join our low carb and fasting masterclass on fatty liver and hypercholesterolemia. Kasi for those na gustong pababain ito the natural way, the normal way, then there is still a way to do that na naka low carb pa din. So it's a long topic, but it is something that is doable, and anybody can be successful if eto ay pag-aaralan natin. So just send a message to our admins for enrollment in our master classes on different kinds of lifestyle diseases. So, yan, Ashley, I think we've already also answered the concern, the same with breastfeeding. May rashes, legs, arms, nakaka-worry po. So baka nagsabay-sabay yung inyong pagfa-fasting, low carb and intense exercises, and of course, very high fat intake. So maybe nagsimula kayo na sobra-sobra yung production ng ketones inyo sa inyong katawan, more than your body can use. So dahan-dahan muna, maybe relax ka muna sa inyong pag-exercise, or yung fasting window ninyo, hindi nyo muna masyadong i-extend, and make sure you hydrate well and intake also of electrolytes like salt. So salt and water can actually improve a lot, including those manifestations of rashes. So those are usually keto rash if you are doing all of those. So intensive na exercise, and then fasting na very long, and then very high fat diet. And of course, when you have all of that, na lowered pa yung inyong electrolyte intake, then those are the basic na ingredients kung bakit nagkakaroon ng keto flu. So make sure ample amount of fluids, electrolytes, and of course, wag munang sagarin. Wag munang ipagsabay-sabay yung extensive, very extensive exercise together with all of those. So dahan-dahan lang. That's why when it comes to starting, we don't recommend starting fasting right away. Low carb lang muna, and then be adapted, be fat adapted. After that, try to listen to your body. When you feel like your body is ready to fast, that's the time that you fast. And then the moment that you already lose, you already feel lighter, then that's the time that you can slowly incorporate exercise para yung ating transition, yung ating progress ay tuloy-tuloy. So, yun po. I think, yan. I think marami na tayong na-cover today. Maraming salamat, everyone. Meron din tayong question dito. I'm not sure if it can be covered. 50-year-old low carber, okay po ba uminom sa hypertension? Tumaas po kasi cholesterol at BP ko. Normal keto at bumaba naman po triglycerides. Normal po ang 1.7 na creatinine. Creatinine that's 1.7, I think it's already high. Nasa 1.5 yung upper limit. Others nga, nasa 1.2 lang for males and 1.1 for females. So, try to look at how you do your low carb. Baka hindi pa masyadong very safe list low carb. So, if this one, so these are all signs na baka meron pang inflammation. So, with creatinine, you can have it checked again dahil baka secondary lang to dehydration. Baka nung pinakuha mo ito is naka-fasting ka. So, it can have a false positive result. So, try to take it na well hydrated na kayo. And the cholesterol naman, again, if it's just HDL and LDL, maybe it's just okay. And yung BP fluctuations in low carb, baka nakulangan lang kayo sa potassium. So, sometimes, marami nangangailangan ng continuous potassium supplementation, especially if hindi natin makontrol yung ating availability of our foods, na hindi natin always makukuha yung target potassium requirement natin in a day. So I hope you can join our master classes, or pwede rin kayong magpakonsulta sa ating mga low-carb doctors para mabigyan kayo ng prescription doses. Most likely, hopefully, it is just electrolytes. So thank you so much po, sir, for that question. So I think, yun na, no? Sobrang daldal na. Sige, maraming salamat po. Next time na ulit. I'll see you again tomorrow. And today is our last day for our registration ng ating ng ating Davao meet and greet. So, I hope to see you in Davao on December 22, 2022, dinner time po. I hope to see you there. Maraming salamat. And it's last day today. Just contact our admin, si Admin Cha at 0939-919-3719. And for LCF Center naman na schedules and consultations, both face-to-face and online with our low-carb doctors and coaches, just contact Admin Rochelle in this number po. Maraming salamat. And of course, as always, remember to stay low carb so that we all stay safe. Bye! Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you can see more contents in our YouTube and Facebook channels at Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo and Dr. Josephine Grace Rojo Tan, respectively. For those who wish to be guided, we have an ongoing structured learning program where we will teach you how to adapt a low carb and fasting lifestyle for healing specific modern day lifestyle diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cancer, fatty liver, PCOS, GERD, and many more. You can send an email to our admins or send a DM in our inbox. I hope to see you all there. Thank you so much. Stay low carb, stay safe. Bye. And lastly, merong one last question na good afternoon, Sir Ikoy Patrick. So, nagtatanong siya, kailan ba magsisimulang mag-count ng fasting? Bago ba kumain or pagkatapos kumain? So, this question sounds so basic, but kailangan pala natin yung i-tackle. So, usually, ang pagka-count po natin is on right after eating. So, kasi if we count before eating, hindi natin alam, baka 2 hours tayong kumakain. That's why it's good if we start at the end of a meal. Kaya yung sinasabi natin, so for example, yung start na 12-12 fasting, so mag-dinner na kayo ng mga alas 5 so that by around 6 p.m., tapos na talaga yung inyong pagkain. And then last bite, last lunok, and then by 6 a.m. the next day, pwede na kayong kumain, and that's already 12 hours of fasting. So, yun po yun, sir. Thank you so much for that question, and maraming salamat for asking that one. See you next time po. Bye-bye!